Chapter 4. As the sun rose above the horizon next morning, I stood by a small stream where I drink every day. The rough grasses, mixed with fallen leaves and pine needles, ran right down to the water. The sun was just barely visible through the gap in the forest trees. From the water that gave birth to us, I said, and dipped my right forehoof in the water, the beginning of the morning ritual. From the grass that feeds us, I said, and moved back to crush a small truff of grass with the same hoof. For the freedom that unites us, I spread my arms wide. We rise to the stars, said, with all four of my eyes of the rising sun. I sighed. This was pretty pointless. I've never been a big believer in all the rituals. I mean, if you're going to be a warrior, you have to do it. Any artist who gets caught rushing through the rituals verbally recommended. But I was a billion Earth miles from my home world. It was hard to see why I was still acting like a good little cadet. I was all alone among aliens. Who cared if I performed the rituals? I bowed low. Freedom is my only cause. Due my people my only guide. Obedience to my prince my only glory. I hesitated, to bias and land in the trees above. The destruction of my enemies my most solemn vow. I straightened up again and assumed the fighting stance. I exilmi escrotichtil, and like warrior cadet, offer my life. And with that I drew my tail blade forward and pressed against my own throat. Then I relaxed my tail. That was part of the ritual called for contemplation. You're supposed to think about the parts of the ritual and ask yourself if you were living up to all of it. The destruction of my enemies. That part stayed in my thoughts. I had not destroyed my enemy. My enemy was terrible and powerful, and tried to destroy him, I'd be the one killed. But that did not matter. What mattered was the enemy, the creature who murdered my brother, not in battle but as he lay helpless. It was the humans who told me the rest of Elvingor's story. As the dome went crashing down into the sea, my brother's fire was damaged. He lay in a bank construction site and there were 5 human youths passing by. He was dying and the earth was now defenseless. He told them about the Yerk Ferret and that he did what he should not have done. He was in a weapon to fight the Yerks. He gave the Andalite power to morph. Never in all of history has any non-Andalite been given this power. It's against our major law, the law of Saro's kindness. Only one other creature can, the Yerk who invaded and took over an Andalite body. He is the only Andalite controller. There are hundreds of thousands of Harbinger and Taxons and humans enslaved that way, but only one Andalite. Only one Yerk has an Andalite body and the power to morph. The Abomination, Visor 3. The humans know Elvingor's last battle, how Visor had morphed a huge, monstrous creature. Elvingor had fought to the very end, lashing out helplessly. How Visor had opened his jaws and... The humans don't know, but if Elvingor had lived, he would have been in a lot of trouble. He would have been demoted at very least. He'd no longer been a prince. Elvingor as the great hero would have been finished. The destruction of my enemies, my most solemn vow. I had faced Visor more than once. He was still living. I had no excuse except I was still an Arnish. If I were a full warrior, this would have been total dishonor for me. Elvingor had the courage. If he had been me killed, Elvingor would have gone right after him. But I guess I'm not Elvingor. Hey Axeman, what's up? I am fine, Tobias, I said. Actually, I was not fine. Tobias being here reminded me I had something planned for this morning and I was nervous. Maybe that's why the morning ritual not left me feeling calm like it's supposed to. I was planning to do something very frightening. I was planning to go to school. That is terrifying. Not to be too curious or anything, but what were you doing? I've seen you do it before. The morning ritual. It reminds a warrior to be humble and to serve the people. Sounds good. Yikes. Axe, don't step back. In fact, don't move at all. What is wrong? Don't you hear that? Listen. That rattling, hissing sound. I've heard that before. That's a rattlesnake right by your leg. They're poisonous, you know. Ah, no, I did not know that. I turned to face the snake and I saw a cold in the leaves. What I did not see was when it struck. It was too fast to see, let alone avoid. Luckily, the fangs hit my hoof. I whipped my tail forward and pressed the snake against the ground, holding it immobile. It squirmed and made a rattling sound with its tail. Better get rid of it, Tobias advised, but I had a different idea. I focused on a snake and began to acquire it, absorbing the snake's DNA into my system. You want to be able to morph a rattlesnake, Tobias asked, sounding dubious. It is very fast and I have fewer earth morphs than the others. It may be useful someday. The snake had gone limp the way animals always did when you acquire them. When I was done, the snake's DNA was in me. I used my tail to flip it away into some bushes. So, Tobias asked, are you still going to go ahead and do your get-to-know-the-humans plan? Yes, I may be on this plan for a long time. I should be using this time to learn about humans, even though I think I may have behaved badly at that movie. Tobias laughed. He laughed for quite a while. Yeah, I heard about that. You just need to stay away from chocolate. I am not prepared for taste. The experience is very strong. Perhaps I should not morph to a human anymore. Don't sweat it, but speaking of taste, you do realize there's this big mystery about you. A big mystery? Yeah, no one wanted to ask because they think it may be rude, but I want to know how you eat with no mouth. How I eat, I repeat, puzzled? Well, I have hooves, don't I? Okay, Tobias said. I'll mind my own business. We started moving toward the woods, and I ran at a good speed. I enjoyed leaping fallen logs and dodging through dense patches of bushes. I was getting to know this forest quite well. As I ran and leaped, Tobias flew overhead. At times he would race through the canopy of trees to disappear from sight, but other times he would flit from tree to tree, silent and swift. In school, during xenobiology, we had a section on humans with Tobias, and mostly involved human television programs, news shows, entertainment, and music. Music, you mean like MTV? You're watching music videos on a homeworld? I don't remember what they were. I didn't pay very much attention to xenobiology. I wish I had now. A warrior's supposed to be a scientist and an artist as well as a fighter, but I did not enjoy that other stuff, so I didn't pay much attention. I suppose humans always pay attention in school. Oh, absolutely. That's why I'm such an expert on the War of 1812. A war? Tell me about it. I was kidding. I don't know anything. We're just about there, though. Are you ready to start? We reached a narrow spur of the woods. Normally I wouldn't have dared go this far, surrounded on three sides by human habitations. But Tobias still had to keep his incredibly keen eyes open for any danger. Yes, I'm ready. Jake and Cassie are coming across the field. It's time for you to morph, time to get human. Tobias, you'll be alone today while I'm with the others. What, like I can't go along with you? I have places to go, things to do, feathers to preen, rodents to eat. Besides, Axe, Jake already asked me to fly cover. I didn't know why, but it made me feel better thinking Tobias being in the sky above me all day. Sometimes I think Tobias and I could be a true shorm. A shorm is a deep friend, someone you never lie to, someone who knows all your secrets. The word shorm means tailblade. See, it's supposed to be a person who would trust so much they would put their tailblade right against your throat and you wouldn't even worry. Sometimes I think Tobias and I could be like that. We are both cut off from our people. We are both alone. But if we were friends, I would have no secrets from Tobias. And even though he is a hawk in form, he is still a human, and I am an Andalite. And no matter how much I sometimes wished for a true friend, there had to be a wall between my people and the humans. Between me and the humans. Getting too close to any alien species is a mistake. We are taught that. We may protect them, defend them, care for them, but they can never be deep friends. That's sad. Chapter 5. I have morphed some Andalite animals, and I have morphed many strange earth animals, but the animal I liked the most was the human animal. They are weak, slow, half-blind, and unstable, but no Andalite should laugh at them. Humans rule their planet, and as the human Rachel once said, Earth is a tough neighborhood. I peered through the trees. I could see a wide, grassy field. On the far side are several long, squat buildings. There are large yellow vehicles parked in front. Hundreds of young humans milled around outside the building. Prince Jake and Cassie had drawn close. Hey Axe, Prince Jake said. How's it going? Very well, Prince Jake, I answered. You're not gonna call me Prince Jake today, are you? When I am in human morph, I will behave as a normal human, I assured him. Well, better go ahead and morph, Cassie suggested. I think we're clear, but I'll go and take a look, Tobias said. He flapped and rose swiftly into the sky. I concentrated my human morph again to make the change. Still clear, heard Tobias call. There's some kids up 200 feet away, but they can't see you. I morphed as quickly as I could while being careful not to fall over as my third and fourth legs vanished. As the last stood on two legs, it was frightening and exciting. I mean, there you are, tottering back and forth with nothing to hold you up. Your feet can't grip and they're too short to be much help in balancing. All you can do if you start to fall is stand on one leg while you throw a second out to catch yourself. It's very unreliable. I don't know why humans evolved this way. The only species on this planet to walk around just two legs without wings or a tail to hold them up. And I've certainly never heard of any intelligent species trying to walk this way. Now, to be fair, he does have a point. There are things that have two legs, like, for instance, me, but I do have a tail, and it does help me balance. So my mouth appeared, a horizontal split in my face. Are you done, Prince Jake asked me? Yes, I am fully human. The sound delighted me. It's an amazing talent his ability to make complex sounds. Human. Axe, don't do that, okay? What? That, where you play with every sound like it's a new toy. Yes, my prince, not a toy. Toy! Toy. Sorry. This should be interesting, Cassie said, looking at Prince Jake. Tobias came swooping low and resting on a tree branch. It's kind of sweet, he said. Axe's first day at school. His only day at school, Prince Jake said quickly. So he's just here to learn to be a more believable human. One time. He held up a single finger, indicating the number 1. Yes, that is 1, I agreed. Now let's go to school. I am looking forward to it. To it. Remember, you're my cousin Philip, or I'm out of steak, Jake said when he handed me a bag full of garments. How old is he to be so clueless? I think he's comparable of their ages, so early teenager, preteen-ish. We don't know how long Andalites live, though. Philip, I repeat confidently. Philip. Philip. Ha. I like the sound a letter P makes. I got dressed and set off toward the squat building that was a schoolhouse. Have fun, Tobias said. He sounded like he was a little wistful. It's a strange thing, I guess. I and Aileen go to school, but he could not. I will, I called back over my shoulder. Unfortunately, being that way may fall over. It takes practice to walk on just 2 legs. Now, to be fair, Axe is a very smart person, but when it comes to human things, well, he's clearly enamored with the ability to taste things and speak, so it makes sense he's not entirely sensible about it. Anyway, Chapter 6. A human has only 2 eyes. They're both on the front of his face. It's the same in most Earth species. These human eyes are very similar to our main eyes, but they seem fascinated by my stalk eyes. One of the humans, Marco said that they creep him out big time. I believe this is a compliment. Here it is, Cassie said. School, or as I have to think of it, purgatory. The mood on that hasn't changed much. The school was very active. There are large numbers of humans racing about at high speed. Others move very slowly and seem sad or ill. Only carry books and most made mouth sounds. As usual, dressed in a shocking variety of clothing. Clothing is not a uniquely human idea, but of course Andalites do not indulge in it. However, when I am a human morph, I must wear clothing. All my friends, even Tobias, agree on this. They agree very strongly on this one point. I saw Rachel and Marco approaching through the cloud of humans. My other human friends tell me Rachel is beautiful and Marco is cute. As an Andal, I don't observe either trait. However, when I'm in human morph, I begin to see that Rachel is actually very beautiful. Ah, that's the hormones at work. But I never see that Marco is cute. Possibly also the hormones at work. At school, the Animorphs must pretend not to be very close. This is so any suspicious human controllers not begin to think of them as a group. Hi Marco, Rachel, Prince Jake said. Meet my cousin, Philip. Yes, I am Prince Jake's cousin, Philip, he said. I am from out of state. Marco made a smile at his mouth. You're from way, way out of state. Don't call me Prince Jake hissed. Nice to meet you again, Philip, and Rachel said and winked. Since she really was Jake's cousin, she would have already met Philip. See you guys later. Good luck. You'll need it, Marco added. When we were inside the school building, it seemed to be nothing but a very long corridor. It was full of humans. Along each side of the corridor there were doors. Some of the doors were large, but there were hundreds of much smaller ones. I observed people opening the small doors, but they never went inside. Where do the small doors lead, I asked. Nowhere. Those are lockers, Cass said. Everyone has one, see? That's my locker right there. We went to her locker. It was decorated with a shiny pendant. It had a wheel with numbers on it. She spun it back and forth. Is that a ritual? Ritual. No, that's a lock. It keeps people out. Why? So they don't steal my stuff. She opened her locker and began putting things in and taking things out. What is that? That. It's just a picture, she said. She quickly closed the door of the locker. It looked like a picture of Jake, I pointed out. Why would you have a picture of him when he is right here and you can see him? Oh? Cassie shrugged and looked down at the ground. Humans have many facial expressions. I believe this one indicated either sickness or embarrassment. Come on, Axe, Prince Jake said. He was smiling at Cassie and she continued to look sick or embarrassed. We'll see you later, Cassie. Time for first. Then there's a terrible, mind-shattering noise. Bring! I spun around and raised my arms ready to use them for defense. I wish I had my tail. It was a terrible thing to be without a tail in a fight. But I was already doing best with my human body. Philip, relax. Bring! That noise, I cried. What kind of beast is that? Axe, it's just the bell for first period. Take it easy, people are staring. It's not a threat? No, it's not a threat. It's depressing, but not dangerous. Wouldn't aliens have lockers too, or locks? I assume they would, but they probably wouldn't look the same or act the same. Remember, the same species that has like gravity lifts that can take you up just by you thinking about it. So that, just by the kind of technology they have, they probably have very different sort of lockers or alarms or what have you. Remember, early in the prologue, they actually had an alarm that went off and it was a whole thought speak thing. It wasn't actually an audible sound that reached their ears. So an alarm that goes off by a noise would seem very strange and probably distressing to him. Plus, it's meant to be alarming. Anyway. I followed Prince Jake as he led the way down the hall. It was difficult to forget the horrible noise. When humans are threatened, their bodies are flooded with a chemical that makes them hyper-alert, fearful, and aggressive. This chemical is called adrenaline. My system is now flooded with adrenaline. It was very distracting. We entered one of the large doors, and inside there were approximately 30 humans arranged in small, confining seats. At the front of the room was a large table. An older human stood there. Everyone get to your seats, the older human said. Prince Jake said, Mr. Pardue, this is my cousin from out of town. His name's Philip. He's just hanging with me today, okay? Just sit, be quiet, and sit. I could tell from Prince Jake's facial expression he was troubled. He took my arm and led me to the back of the room. Take that desk. Take it where? What air? Where? I mean sit in it. I understood sitting. I was getting pretty good at passing for a human. Once for 2 days I had to morph Prince Jake and pretend to be him. I was successful in fooling his parents and brother, although I later learned his parents believed that he had become mentally ill. When the real Prince Jake returned, they took him to see a doctor. Sitting in this desk was unpleasant, I said. You got that right, dude, a human didn't know said. What's going on back there? Back and quiet down, the teacher demanded loudly. What? Suddenly he clutched his head with both hands. Everyone be quiet. Quiet! Now Prince Jake looked very troubled. Mr. Party, are you okay? All the other humans stared as well. Everyone was very quiet. Okay, demanded a loud, angry voice. Am I okay? Am I? Ah! Suddenly he pitched forward and fell on the floor and clawed his head with his hands. He cried, Yerk, get out of me! He clawed his head until blood began to flow. Ugh. Chapter 7. He cried as he clawed his head. One of the humans began screaming. What's happening? What's happening? Someone else ran from room to hallway and to shout for help. Prince Jake and I sat very still side by side in the back of the room. Stop damaging our body, Mr. Pardew cried, and as if answering something, he said in a slurred voice, Get out of my head! Get out of my head! You're finished! Prince Jake's gaze met my own. We both knew what was happening. That makes two, Prince Jake whispered. Two that we've seen. Something is going very wrong for them. Mr. Pardew began crying and cursing, and all the while he writhed on the floor and other humans stood around horrified and helpless. Did you know this teacher was a controller? Asked Prince Jake, with a voice very quiet. No, he seemed like a nice guy. I can't sit here and watch this. Get out of me! He screamed suddenly. The orc in his head was weakening. It was starving. The human host, the real party, was fighting for control. Suddenly Prince Jake stood and rushed to the teacher's side, and I was right behind him. I tried to grab his arm and stop him, but he was too quick. Prince Jake snapped, but he ignored me. Prince Jake knelt by the teacher's bleeding head. I know what this is, he whispered. I know what this is, Mr. Pardew. Write it out. The Yerk will die. You'll be free. The others are getting closer, close enough to over here. Stay back, I said. There might be danger. I didn't know what else to say, but it seemed to work. The others stayed back. Mr. Pardew rolled his eyes out to focus blearily on Prince Jake's face. He grabbed the teacher's shoulder in a tight grip. I've been there, he whispered. I've done it, Mr. Pardew. I was a controller for a while. I survived. Just hang on. I searched the face of other humans trying to see what they overheard. Jake was my prince, but this was dangerous and foolish behavior. Suddenly the door opened, and I recognized a human who rushed in. Chapman, the assistant principal for the school. He was also a high-ranking controller. Alright kids, everyone out, Chapman snapped. Everyone out to the playground. Out of the building. Mr. Pardew is sick. You! He cried. No, Chapman is... I said, out! Chapman roared. The humans fled the room, anxious to be away from this scene of madness. But Prince Jake didn't move. He stayed by the human called Pardew. I saw his fist clenching. There was a dangerous light in his eyes. He looked at me, then back at Prince Jake. Jake, you and your friend get out. For a first moment of time, no one moved and held my breath. Would Prince Jake start a fight? If so, I had to join him, but this was a foolish fight. Prince Jake couldn't afford to reveal himself. I grabbed Prince Jake's arm and yanked him up to his feet. He glared furiously at me. We have to go, I said. So he nodded. Yeah, hope he gets better. If he looked at Chapman. He will get better, won't he, Mr. Chapman? Who can say, the controller answered coldly. I drew Prince Jake away. He stopped at the door and looked back to see Chapman draw a short steel cylinder from his pocket. He pressed against the neck of the weeping teacher. No, he cried, no! And then, very quickly, Mr. Pardew fell silent. Prince Jake turned away and ran. He pushed his way through the others, who stood closer just inside the classroom. He ran clear outside and gasped realized he didn't have sufficient oxygen. I caught up with him, but it was difficult. He had more practice running on two legs. Jake, are you sick? He shook his head. Pardew's a controller. The Yerk was starving. And why? Because we destroyed the Cadrona. Me and you and the others, we did this. It was necessary, I said. We struck a powerful blow against the Earth by destroying the Cadrona. Chapman just killed him, didn't he? Prince Jake said. That little steel cylinder. Did you see that? Not just the Yerk, but the real Pardew, too. He killed them both. And there was no point in lying anymore. Prince Jake has seen the truth. And the idea of lying now, here, made me feel unwell inside. If the Yerk inside teacher had died, the teacher could have survived and been free, I said. He would have told the others what happened. He would have warned them. The Yerks can't allow witnesses. They're going to kill every host whose Yerk dies, aren't they? Prince Jake severely. Every human controller whose Yerk dies is going to be eliminated. That's true, isn't it? Yes. Prince Jake's face showed an expression, I believe an expression of sickness. We did this, Prince Jake said. It's war. My brother, Prince Jake said. Tom. He's a controller. What about him? I had no answer. The Yerks would save as many as they could, but if their emergency system was breaking down, they would do what had to be done. They would eliminate any evidence. Prince Jake was staring at me. You knew they would do this. I glared back. Maybe it was the human adrenaline, but I was going angry now. Angry with this accusing look in his eyes. Yes, I knew. How did you know? I hesitated, and he didn't like my hesitation. He suddenly wheeled around and pushed me against the wall. How did you know the Yerks would do this? Because it's happened before. You think this is the first planet the Yeerks infiltrated? Do you think Yeerk is the only place where the Andalites have fought them? Oh, they don't leave witnesses. Prince Jake let me go, but he looked at me with an unmistakable suspicion. I don't like you keeping secrets from me, Axe. I'm your friend. We're your friends. We should know whatever you know. And you didn't tell me about this. Terrible things happen in war, I said. You did what you had to do. Destroying the Cadron was part of that war. You can say it's a war, Prince Jake said, but I hate it. Love the warrior, hate the war. What's that, an old Andalite saying? Yes, my brother used to say it. Prince Jake looked at me for a long time and made me uncomfortable. You know something, Axe? Sometimes I get the feeling we humans are just pawns in this big game between you and the Yeerks. We're just ammunition in this war, aren't we? Too dumb to know what's going on, too primitive to be real warriors. That's not the way it is, I said. My anger is diminishing, but his suspicion was not. You fight alongside us, Axe, and as far as I'm concerned, you're one of us, but then I find how you're keeping secrets. Rachel and Marco keep asking me, what do we know about Axe? What has he ever told us about his own planet when we keep showing him everything? I told them we could trust you, but now I wonder. I really wonder. There's no trust when you keep secrets. You should have told us this is what the Yeerks would do. You know I have a brother who... You know about Tom. I had a right to know what would happen. Maybe you wouldn't have destroyed the Cadrona if you'd known it would endanger Tom, I pointed out. He stuck his face very close to mine. That's what you think. You know what, Axe? You're right to learn more about humans, because you don't know a thing about us. Not a thing. Chapter 8. An intellect may think that humans are simple, open, and trusting creatures, but they are more subtle than they seem at first. Possibly it's because they're a spoken language where no one word ever means just one thing. My day at the human school ended with the removal of the teacher had been a controller. Prince Jake went home, I went back to the woods and gratefully resumed my true shape. But I spent a very bad afternoon and night. I realized that Prince Jake and the humans could never be true Shorms. I knew there was a wall between me and them, but they were all I had. Without them I was utterly alone, and Prince Jake's anger and suspicion hurt me. It's a terribly lonely thing to be a billion Earth miles from every living member of your own people. The next day Marco invited me to hang out with him. That was a surprise. Marco had never been very friendly, unlike Cassian, Tobias, and Prince Jake. Rachel, too, had never seemed to take to me. I morphed into my human body and met Marco at the edge of the woods. So, he said, you want to be Pinocchio, huh? What? Pinocchio is this little boy carved out of wood. He wanted to be a real live human. I do not want to be a human. I merely wish to study them. Marco smiled. What a coincidence. And I want to study Andalites. It took me several minutes to understand what he was saying. Oh, Prince Jake actually pressed me for information. Jake was a little ticked off he didn't tell us everything you know, Marco said. Rachel's even more ticked. Come on, we have to catch a bus. You learn about humans, right? I thought I'd take you to a bookstore. Smart as you are, you can learn to read English. Bookstore? Bookstore? Yeah, books, fiction, history, 100,000 books about the human race. And you get to choose any of them we want. We have no secrets, unlike certain species I could mention who don't tell us even a little thing like how they can eat with no mouth. I see. You open your society to me. Society. And you want me to do the same in return. I told Jake I could cleverly weasel all the information out of you. He said, no. Axe is a friend. Show him we have nothing to hide. Maybe he'll finally decide to trust us. I felt a pang of guilt. They were treating me with trust. They had never done anything to hurt me. On the contrary, they'd been wonderful. Good in every way. I have reasons for keeping secrets, I said. Marco nodded. Yeah, we know. Rachel says you're probably not allowed to interfere with primitive races like humans. I was surprised. That was very close to the truth. At first I didn't know what to say. He smiled a cold smile and I said, so that's it, right? Kinda late for that attitude though, wouldn't it? After all the Yeerks are interfering with us like crazy. I had no answer to give, but as I looked around the street, all the humans with their cars and humans lurching on two legs, it occurred me how defenses as I beat out Prince Jake and Marco and the others. We had reached a bus stop and suddenly he slapped his pants. Ah man, I left my money at home. We all pitched in for your book fund. I left it on my desk. Come on. Where are we going? Ing. It's a very satisfying sound. Yeah, everyone loves a good ing. You have to run to my house. Don't worry, it's just around the corner. Marco led me down the street. There are houses on both sides, big boxy structures with transparent rectangles here and there. This is Prince Jake's house, said. I had spent time in Prince Jake's home. No, it's just the same model. This is a subdivision. There's only like 5 different models for houses and they all look alike. Welcome to suburbs. But it beats the place I used to live in. He was correct. There are only 5 types of house, although some had more grass and some had less, and some were decorated items have been placed on the grass. What is that decoration? He followed the direction of my gaze, and then he rolled his eyes upward. That's a big wheel. It's very attractive, colorful. I love telling you how it works, but it's the very height of human technology, so it's kind of a secret. Primitive races get a hold of big wheels, and who knows what would happen. I am still learning about human mouth sounds, but I am very sure that was sarcasm. This is my house. My dad's home working. He sprained his ankle, so he's using the home computer. Don't be weird, okay? No, I will not be weird. Weird. I will act like a normal human. You act like a normal human, you'll win an Oscar, Marco said. He led away to the house, opened the door. Okay, look, you just wait by that table. Don't go anywhere. If my dad comes in and talks to you, just say yes and no. Got it? Yes and no answers only. I will run to my room. I'm going to call one of the others to meet up at the bookstore. You're already driving me nuts. At least he's honest. I stood by the table. There was a primitive computer on the table, even a solid two-dimensional screen, and a keyboard, an actual keyboard. I touched the keyboard. It was amazing. And like computers once had keyboards too, the R's are very different, and it had been centuries since we used them. On the screen of the computer was a game. The object of the game was to spot the errors in a primitive symbolic language and correct them. Of course, if I could play it, it makes sense of the system, but that was simple enough. Once I understood, it was easy to spot the errors. I quickly rewrote to make sense out of it. I win, I said to myself. Hello? I turned around. There was an older human, paler than Marco, but the features were similar. Marco warned me not to say anything to his father, but yes and no. No, I said to Marco's father. I am Marco's dad. Are you a friend of his? Yes. What's your name? No. Your name is No? Yes. That's an unusual name, is it? No. It's not? Yes. Yes, it's not an unusual name? No. Now I'm totally confused. Yes. Marco's father stared at me in a loud voice. He said, Marco, would your friend is here. Your friend No is here. No, I said. Yes, that's what I said. Marco came running downstairs. What? We cried. Dad, do you know my friend? No, Marco's father said. What? His father shook his head. I must be getting old. I don't understand you kids. Yes, I offered. After that, I went to the bookstore. I understand when Marco told him to only use yes and no, but, well, Chapter 9. Books are an amazing human invention. They allow instant access to information simply by turning pieces of paper. They're much faster used than computers. Surprisingly, humans invented books before computers. They do many things backwards. It was evening of the next day and I was in the woods. I was reading a book. It was called The World Almanac. Did you know that 12% of households have a dehumidifier? Did you know that a sheep can live for 20 years? Did you know that humans used to believe the sun orbited the earth? It's a wonderful book. It told me many useful things. It took humans only 66 years ago for inventing the first flying machine to landing on the moon. It took andalites almost 3 times as long. Humans are a very clever species. Someday if they survive, they could be one of the great races of the galaxy. Of course, the andalites will always be greater. I was standing by a stream, one hoof in the water, drinking, when my stalk eye saw a swift shadow falling from the sky. Tobias opened his wings and shot just over my head. Axe, everyone's looking for you. Stay right here. I have to get them. He kept most of his speed, but slowly disappeared over the trees. Spumont lay his back with 4 other birds of prey. Tobias took position on the branch. The arrows landed. I knew those were Animorphs. They quickly began to demorph, and Prince Shay grew up a falcon's racing body. Rachel emerged from a huge bald eagle. Cassie and Marco acquired Osmimorphs and are now becoming human again. I felt a tingling of worry. They'd obviously been searching for me and were in a hurry. What is the matter? I asked. What's the matter? Marco demanded. You're asking what's the matter. I'll tell. But at that point, Marco crossed the line from boss being back to morph back to human. His human mouth is still a beak, however, so he just squawked. We'll always be greater. We took 3 times as long to invent space travel. Yeah. Now, to be fair, I remember talking with Sensei about this. To be fair, humans did have sort of an edge in that regard because we don't know the Andalite context for them making space travel. We know when it came to us, or rather with humans, I should say, there was a whole space race thing going on. So they're basically rushing to get it done, essentially. They had ulterior reason to do it besides we want to figure out how to go to space. Basically, they're going faster because they had competition with each other. Assuming that's not the case and they're just going at a more easygoing pace, so to speak, it may take longer. But yes, I will say the always be greater thing is sort of elf-like arrogance, which the Andalites do seem to possess. They are very elf-like in ways, but anyway. I watched Cassie as she made the change. Cassie is a natural estrine, a person's ability to make morphing almost artistic. On my planet, it's an art form. Through professional estrines, you change shape in fantastic, beautiful ways. Cassie was not a professional, but she had a talent, and as she morphed, she formed pleasant shapes. For a while, she had an enlarged osprey's head as large as a human head and vast wings attached to a human body. When arrows morph, they are much less subtle. For them, human parts simply ooze out while feathers melt away. It's very unappealing. The humans find it frightening and disgusting as well, I believe, and even they recognize Cassie as a talent for it. What did you do? Marco's human mouth reappeared. I don't understand the question. My dad's computer. You did something to it, didn't you? I merely played the game. Game? There was no game. That was my dad's work. No, it was a game. You had to find errors in the instructions. An idea occurred to me. Oh, I understand. Your father designs games for children. Cassie started to laugh and then silenced herself. No, Axe. He writes software programs for high-tech uses. He's working with astronomers at the observatory and designing a program aiming at a radio telescope at a new observatory. I nodded as I'd seen humans do. Oh, yes, it could be for that purpose, but it was so obviously full of errors, I just assumed it was a child's game. If you say game one more time, I swear I'm going to punch you, Marco said. Prince Jake put his hand on his shoulder. What Marco means is it's not a game, Axe. His father's going nuts about it. My dad says you must create some whole new branch of computer software at the same time open up new ways to do astronomy. He showed it to the guys at the observatory and they're totally losing it. They're talking about Nobel Prizes. I convinced my dad it was an accident. I told him you're an idiot and you weren't the next Einstein. Einstein, yes. I read about him in the World Almanac. He was the first person to realize that matter and energy... Axe? Rachel spoke. Are you not getting this? What if some controllers hear about this new software? Don't you think they might guess it was an android who came up with it? It'd be quite suddenly if she was right. If those equations are supposed to be real, not a game, but real, then I just pushed human science ahead by a century. Maybe more. I think he just got it, Marco said sarcastically. What is a radio telescope? Yeah, I asked Marco. He shrugged. Like I would know. What am I, a science teacher? A radio telescope that tells us to seas by picking up radio waves in our radiation from outer space, Cassie said. Marco gave her an incredulous look. Not all of us sleep through science class, Marco. I see, a primitive sensor. That would make sense. Of course, the changes I made... What, he snapped? What about the changes you made? The changes I made would only... Suddenly I stopped. The whole truth was gaining a dawn on me. A radio telescope. A huge, high-powered collector of broad-spectrum energy. My mind raced through memories of classes from long ago. I can almost picture my teacher explaining, yes, with the right adjustments and the right software, I could bounce the collected energy back, focus it, modulate it with my mind, and break into Z-space. Zero space. I could use it to send messages through Z-space and communicate with my world. I felt as if a blow had made me weak. It was true. I can use it to call my home world, to call my people, my family. I didn't think I'd ever admit to that moment just how much I wanted to see another Andalite. Axe, what are you hiding now? Rachel demanded. I tried to concentrate on a question, but my mind was spinning and made me feel weak. I could contact my home planet. I could... But at the same time, there was another truth. I had to destroy his technology. I'd broken the law of Sarah's kindness. I gave him a huge advanced technology. Axe, Rachel, asked you a question, Prince Jason tersely. What is this? What's up with you? My duty was clear. I could not tell my human friends what I'd done. I had to erase the damage. But... before I did that... Would it be wrong to contact my family? Would it be so wrong to see them again? I'm not hiding anything, I lied. Nothing at all.